For the better part of a week now, the country has been focused on nearly an inexplicable human tragedy in the state of Florida. And as each of the days passes, we are all witnessing the range of emotions from loved ones, friends, and neighbors for those who are still missing. Hundreds of people are digging while millions are praying. Tonight, we have the opportunity to hear from someone who has been through such a horror and lived to tell her story. 20 years ago, Genelle Guzman-McMillan was in one of the World Trade Center towers when it was attacked. She tried to escape, but could not get completely out. She lived in the rubble of that 110-story building for 27 straight hours, longer than anyone else. She was the last person to come out alive. Genelle, thanks for joining us and sharing your miracle with us. As we talk tonight, your thoughts have got to be full of what's going on in Florida. It had to bring back tremendous, unpleasant, awful, indescribable memories for you. What is going through your mind?
Honestly, Doug, when I heard of this, actually it was like late Friday morning. I didn't even know of it, that it happened on Thursday. And when I heard this, I was like, it just bring back so much raw memory, especially with a little boy being buried, crying out for help. It really touched me, and I felt like it was happening to me all over again.
Do you live that memory every day?
I pretty much live a happy life. I don't really try to think about it. I just try to push forward and just, thank God for being here. So that is like, I try to keep it behind me, but it's there. It's there. I can't get away from it. Every time something occurs, it, just flashback memories. So it's there.
And I know that you have used your faith
definitely
tremendously to move on with your life.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my faith, I probably would have been really depressed and, and scared. But because of my faith, I think I've gotten really strong and, just believe and trust in God that he brought me this far and he's going to take me through the end.
And to that point, you wrote a book, 2014, I believe. It's called Angel in the Rubble, the Miraculous Rescue of 9/11's Last Survivor. Walk me through that day and the actual experience of the tower collapsing around you. What floor were you on?
I was on the 64th floor. I worked on the 64th floor, but the tower collapsed me on the 13th staircase. And I just remember just being on the 13th staircase. I stopped briefly to take my shoes off, and that's when the whole building just came crumbling down, darkness, dust, completely.
Did you have a sense of falling with the building? Was it an explosion around you or a combination? Describe.
Actually, I wasn't really falling. I just felt everything falling on top of me. I wasn't crumbling, going down. So it's just like everything was just crumbling on top of me until it came to a complete stop. And then I realized I was buried.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what was your physical condition at that point?
Physically, I just thought I was going to die. I couldn't move. I was just completely stuck. And I was just waiting, preparing myself to die.
And you were stuck between pieces of concrete, I assume?
And debris were on top of me. My head was wedged between the concrete pillar. My body was in a kind of crisscross position, and I couldn't move at all for 27 hours.
No, not your limbs?
Not limbs, no.
But you were conscious?
I was conscious through it all, definitely. I heard, from the collapse, the noise, and I heard someone called out for help in a very fainted voice, and I knew it was somebody buried underneath me. Mm-hmm. So I was conscious.
At what point did you begin calling for help?
It seems like it was forever. I didn't call out for help right away, definitely not. And I didn't really call out for help loudly, physically, or anything like that. I just started to pray after a couple hours, I believe. Just started to try to do something different and just pray about it. Just call out to God for help.
What does one do when you think that you're going to die? What does one do in those 27 hours that you laid there, unable to move?
Well, when the first collapse, I felt that there's nothing I can do. So I was preparing myself to die. I shut my eyes and thinking that, it's a dream, and when I started to feel the pain, that's when I realized that I am completely stuck and I just want to die because I can't, I'm not going to get out. And in that memories of just laying there, I realized that I'm still breathing. And that's when I knew I wanted to live. And I just started to cry out to God to hear me and give me this chance to make it out. So I can describe, and it feels like I've been to hell and back because of the pain I was going through. So I wanted to die at first.
What hurt you specifically? Where was the pain?
My head. It was pinned between the concrete pillar. I couldn't move it backwards or forward. It was just stuck there, and it just felt like it was going to explode. Mm. And my legs at one point, I couldn't no longer feel it. So I just thought it was just fell asleep. But I suffered a crushed leg injury due to that. Did you?
Eventually, were you able to sleep at times, in and out of sleep?
Cat naps. I just I knew it was under there. So I was just hoping help will come in a blinking of an eye. Every time I shut my eyes, I would hear the noise. I would hear the siren going off. I would hear the stuff. So I was thinking that, help will come soon. So I couldn't fall asleep, not even for half an hour or nothing like that. I didn't. Mm-hmm.
What was the first sense that you had that help might be on the way or imminent?
I think at one point when I was almost ready to give up, it felt like a long time. I had no recollection of the time, but the point where I was really going to give up, and I just tried one more time, and for some reason I just put my left hand to feel what's above my head. And that's when I just started to call out, and I started praying even more. And that's when I heard the voice, the hand, Paul touched my hand, and I touched his, and he called me by my name. That's the only time I knew I was going to get out.
It was the touch of another human hand reaching out to you.
I called out, and he grabbed me by my hand, told me his name was Paul, and he called me by my name, and he told me that, Genelle, I got you.
We know your name.
He knows my name. I didn't say my name because I wasn't calling out. I never called out until he told me to speak because the rescuer was going to come. They're almost there. So he started to tell me to call out, keep talking. I got you, Genelle. You're going to be fine. And he kept holding my hand and telling me just keep calling out. And I started to call out for help. And that's when somebody answered me back. Mm-hmm.
What was it like to see sunshine again, to see human faces, to see life?
I know. It felt such a relief because I thought I was going home to my family after being how many hours, I had no idea. So when the rescuer put me out and I could feel the sunlight in my eyes, I knew I was in the open and I could hear the people cheering me on. So I knew I was free and I just wanted to go home, and I just felt that calmness in my body. I just felt so much joy, and I knew I had accepted salvation under that rubble. So I wasn't just smiling, and I'm just so happy to see my family.
When did you first see your family?
When I got to the hospital, I took a couple hours. I saw my sisters and my boyfriend, Roger, at the time. And I was smiling. I remember that. And they were crying and I was smiling because I felt so different.
Yeah. Had your family resigned themselves to your death?
Roger did. Yeah. And some of my sisters did because they consider me to be so, tiny, and Genelle so weak. So they kind of came to the conclusion that maybe I wasn't going to come out. I was gone. So, but it was a joyful moment.
And tell me again how your faith manifested itself in those coming days after you were rescued, coming weeks and months.
Actually, Doug, being in the hospital, knowing that I have given my life to Christ under the rubble that day, I started to have my own little service in the hospital. My sister would come with the Bible, and I started to learn the Bible from there in the hospital. And as soon as I got out, after almost the 3 months, I went to the Brooklyn Tabernacle. I joined the church, I got baptized, and I started living my life for Christ. And it just started to get even bigger and bigger in my faith, and just I started to feel a whole different me, and started to make the promises that I make to God under the rubble. I just wanted to live that life. I just wanted to continue going on that path.
And that has stuck with you to this very day.
It has stuck to me for 20 years now. Thank God.
Do you feel like you've been given a second chance at life?
Definitely, definitely. I asked myself before, why me? Why wasn't my other co-workers as well who was with me? And, I don't have the answer for that. And I don't know the plan and the purpose that God had for my life, but I am sure I'm here for a purpose. I'm sure that he's not done with me yet. And it's something that I have to do. And that's what I'm doing right now, is just giving people hope and letting them know that faith is all we need. And we have to cry out to God with a genuine heart. And he hears our silent prayer. And I'm just so want to live that life according to his will.
Is that the kind of advice that you would give to people in Miami now who are awaiting word of loved ones? It's been 6 days now. It certainly seems dim indeed.
6 days is a pretty long time. And the family, I feel so much, pain in my heart for these, family who don't even know if their loved one is going to come out of this. But what I can say, I know just just ask and pray to God for that comfort, and, to just let there be healing for those who lost their loved ones as well. And, just keep praying and have that faith that something good's going to come out of this. I mean, we have to trust in a higher power, and definitely in God.
And that's really the final word. That's the lesson you would offer to these people who are just going through excruciating
Keep faith
pain and
alive.
suffering.
Keep the faith alive. Keep praying. Prayer is a powerful thing.
And that applies, I assume you're saying, to those who are going to be found dead as well, to the survivors of those who are going to be found dead.
I pray that there are survivors. I mean, nothing is impossible. With God, all things are possible. I pray that really will be more survivors. But we just got to keep our faith and keep praying for the best.
Genelle Guzman-McMillan, thank you so much for your time. I know it's difficult for you to talk about this, but we sure do appreciate it. And I hope the people who are waiting word of their loved ones can find some comfort in what you just told us. The book is called Angel in the Rubble, The Miraculous Rescue of 9/11's Last Survivor. Genelle Guzman-McMillan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate it. God bless you.